Hi, today I'll be explaining how to incorporate outside sources into the text of your paper in a seamless way. We'll be reviewing different ways of citing sources, including in-text and parenthetical citations, and finally, a powerful quote sandwich strategy of blending research with your own writing. The book They Say, I Say has a lot of hints and strategies for incorporating sources through quote, paraphrase, and summary. You'll be reading a couple chapters from that book, including The Art of Quotation and 3 Ways to Respond. The most important thing you should take away from those chapters is the concept of the quote sandwich. With a regular sandwich, you have 2 pieces of bread and filling. In the analogy of the quote sandwich, your top piece of bread is a tag that introduces the author and the source. The quotation is the filling, and an explanation of the quote is the bottom piece of bread. Yum! Let's look at an example. Here on the top piece of bread, we've got an introduction to the source, saying, according to Elise Barker, instructor of English at Idaho State University. Then we've got the quote, quote sandwiches make research papers delectable. Finally, we have some explanation of the quote. It is important to have delectable content because research papers should be enjoyable for the reader. But why do this? One reason is because you want to avoid hit and run quoting. According to Graf and Bergenstein in They Say, I Say, hit and run quotations just drop quotes in without context or an explanation. They leave readers blindsided and confused about the purpose of the quote. Quote sandwiches help you avoid hit and run quoting. And quote sandwiches instantly elevate the quality of a student's writing. Quote sandwiches help writers maintain control over their sources rather than letting the sources control the writer. They incorporate sources into the writer's writing, blending voices. If there's only one thing you take from this whole class, I hope it's the quote sandwich. It is a powerful tool. This is what a quote sandwich would look like in an actual paper. See that little 13 there? That is half of a parenthetical citation. It's the page number of the source that the quote comes from. Let's talk about these parenthetical citations. First off, parenthetical refers to the parentheses surrounding citation information. Parenthetical citations come after a quote or paraphrase. Parenthetical citations in MLA look like this. Barker 13, inside parentheses. That's the author's name, last name, and page number. If you've already named the author in the text, you just need to cite the page number in parentheses. Parenthetical citations look slightly different in various style guides, so check out what guide your field uses and start learning how to do it. Some people call the top citation a narrative citation or in-text citation because I've introduced the source using a tag like according to so-and-so, so the citation is part of the text or the narrative story. The bottom citation here is more of a traditional parenthetical citation because it only names the source in parentheses. I'm not a big fan of the second example and much prefer the top one. In most non-academic writing contexts, if you have a tag that names the author, like according to Barker, you don't need a parenthetical citation or footnote. But you might need to use parenthetical citations or even footnotes and endnotes in your particular field of study. In any case, you always need to find a way to refer to the author's name. Regardless of if you use a quote or a summary or a paraphrase, you need to include the author's name somewhere. And, if possible, include the page number in parentheses. Some sources, especially online sources, don't have page numbers. You can cite paragraph numbers if you want, but you don't have to. Let's look at one more example. Here we have an introduction to a quote or a tag, the top bun of our quote sandwich. It contains the information about the author, Linda Berry. Something to note about this is that these in-text citations are really important because they direct the reader to a source in the works cited page. I once had a professor say that in-text citations are like hyperlinks between the text of your paper and the work cited at the end. Next, we have our quote with quote marks indicating the beginning and end of the quoted material. Then we have our parenthetical citation. This one only includes the page number because we have already given Barry's name in the top piece of bread, and it would be redundant to say it again. On another note, just as Barry's name sent us to the works cited page at the end, so too does the number help us. It tells us where we can find the specific quote within the large text of what it is. Finally, we have our bottom bun, the explanation and comment about the quote. I hope this has been helpful. Please let me know if you have any other questions. And happy quote sandwiching!